when we started, early days, white label. So we've got something we can really show that works. And plus, we're building a resort adjoining.
All right, so welcome everybody. We are here in amazing Bali. It's my first week here. I'm super excited. Today we have an amazing person right next to me. We're going to be talking about the new trends in the hospitality world. And I can't think of a better person than the very one, Michael Burchett, to join us today in the podcast. So thank you so much for being here today, Michael. How do you feel?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to our discussion today. So always good to be in Bali. And Ubud.
Yeah, no, this is amazing. And it's a great weather today. I am super happy also to be here. And Michael, I am truly honored to have you here. I think you're one of the most experienced and amazing persons that I've met in the hospitality world. Your experience and background is simply fantastic. And I'm so glad that we can get to spend this time together and share all of this knowledge with all the audience that we have today. So to get started, we're going to be talking about the trends in hospitality. So first and foremost, how did you come with to this world? How did you start with the hospitality business?
My parents' fault. So I'm fourth generation, I guess. My grandparents' parents, or maybe third.
There you go.
So my grandparents were in pubs, restaurants. Mum and dad were in pubs and restaurants, and I had an opportunity, because I wasn't the best student at university, to go to the UK, go to London and do some hotel studies as a trainee. At the time with a group called Rank, R-A-N-K, Rank Xerox.
Oh, there you go.
They had a group of hotels. So, and I spent 5 years in London working, with different properties. I arrived with my suit, ready to start, thought this would be cool. 6 months on the dishwashing machine.
There you go, best experience, right?
So it was a great experience. And there's a lot of stuff in, I guess, my career that, you work hard, but opportunities appear. And I was always a little bit lucky because Mum and Dad went to holiday in Fiji, and they stayed at the Regent. And they were having a few problems. They messed up their booking.
Really?
Dad, being a hotel guy, met the GM. GM said, "Oh my God, I got some problems, And my dad said, "I got just the guy for you."
There you go.
So about 6 months later, after interviews and various other things, I ended up in Fiji. So that's
where everything started.
Career. Yeah, that's how I started my career with Regent and then Four Seasons, so 15 years. My wife got a little bit tired because we got married in Fiji, met and married in Fiji. And then in the 15 years, we did Fiji, Sydney, Auckland, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Chicago, Bali, Jakarta. Then she said, enough.
My gosh, yeah, well, I can understand it, right?
But my first experience in Bali was 1992 when we opened the Four Seasons. It was going to be Regent, and then it rebranded when Four Seasons bought Regent. But my introduction to Bali and to Indonesia, and what a fantastic place.
So I have heard that you're one of the pioneers, so to speak, that brought some of the big brands to Southeast Asia or Bali.
Well, it was interesting because when we, Four Seasons at the time was not known. It was a Canadian company based in the US. We had Inn on the Park in London. So as a brand, it was still quite new. Regent was really well established with the Regent Hong Kong, fantastic property and great group, led by legendary hotel guys like Bob Burns, George Raphael, and Adrian Zecker.
The Michael Burchett of their days, right? Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah,
not quite, but and then with Four Seasons, when they purchased Regent, the Regent here. Just such a beautiful property, 147 villas, really stunning in Jimbaran. And Izzy Sharp, the chairman at the time of Four Seasons, still the chairman, he said, "No, we would love the Regent brand, we're going to keep it." But just before we opened as the Regent Bali, he said, "The hotel is too beautiful, it has to be Four Seasons." So within 30 days, we rebranded,
You're
And
kidding.
yeah, we opened on the 12th of January,
Oh
1993.
boy, so you got to do the whole rebranding in
Yeah,
just
in a
30 days.
month.
Oh boy.
So it was quite an exercise. And then I thought, oh, I'm going to settle into Bali for a while. But about a year after opening, we really established the resort quickly. We were chosen as one of the world's best new resorts, which
There you
was
go.
fantastic after year one. And my boss at the time, who was based in Singapore, suggested it might be a good idea if I went to Jakarta to open the Four Seasons or the
Why
region
not
there.
doing all over again, right?
So after I got permission from my wife, so off we went. We had 3.5 great years in Jakarta.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's a big
Oh, so
city,
you've been
but
all over the
fantastic
place.
city. Yeah, great city.
Awesome. So in your career professionally in the hospitality world, how long has it been?
Well, Mum used to get us washing dishes and cooking in the kitchen from about 10 or 12.
Oh, there you go.
So we started early.
All right.
And my sister's a chef. My brother...
Also, you all got it.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
part of the family
we're all
now.
in hospitality. So my brother runs the catering and everything for one of the largest law firms in Perth.
There you go.
My other sister, sort of hospitality. She used to run the PR at the airport. Now she is involved in all the tourism awards.
There you go.
My daughter has a wedding company here in Bali. Her husband's a chef, and my son runs a bar in Melbourne. So there you go.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
I'm training my 4-year-old grandson as the next generation. So
Perfect. So, in this journey that you have gotten, what would you say, surely, what is the best, proudest moment of your career, your biggest achievement personally, and same way, what has been the biggest either struggle or challenge you have faced?
I mean, I think I've had some wonderful experiences. Four Seasons was really special because it was my second position as a general manager. Regent and Four Seasons gave us a lot of autonomy, and it was just a fantastic experience. We built a great team. Conrad, when I came back in 2003 to do the Conrad, it's actually the longest I've worked anywhere. I was there for 9 years. Had
9
a year
years.
of building and getting it ready, and then 8 years. And I think one of my more emotional experiences was recently, the 20th anniversary of Conrad, and the Patatang and his family who own the hotel, and Kevin Gerard, who's the GM, fantastic guy. And they had this event to celebrate the 20th anniversary, and they asked me to do a little video beforehand.
Oh, so this is not your first time.
True.
You seem so natural, so confident.
But they presented it on the screen, and it was all about the culture that we were able to create at Conrad, because it was a unique time. We'd had the first bomb. Bali was recovering very slowly. It was a really challenging period. We hired a whole group of young, energetic, enthusiastic people, and we started with a fresh slate. And we created quite a team. And it was today, and that's probably my proudest moment, if you like, Four Seasons and Conrad, when I go to those hotels, all the things we put in place in the culture is still there.
There you go. Bravo, bravo.
So, and then, we got a few of our Conrad people who we still work with, and Four Seasons. So
it means that you have done a great job. So congratulations.
Well,
on
they
that.
understand how we work, and they put up with me. There you go.
So, considering the large experience and background you have related to the industry in multiple countries, which is, different sorts of challenges, opening new hotels, bringing these big brands, how do you think the industry has either evolved or changed over the years?
I think particularly more recently, and this is our opportunity with new brands that we create, where it used to be you needed to go with one of the big brands, Hilton, Marriott, someone along those lines, to establish the property,
right,
and get into their network. But today's world, actually, no. in fact, being small, being
Boutique and
yeah, you can move a lot quicker. And the digital world that we live in, particularly, haven't even started on AI. My goodness, that's coming. So, but what the big guys can do, we can also do, and probably a bit better in the sense of we can move a lot quicker and be maybe a bit more creative.
I totally agree. This entrepreneurial startup ecosystem that we are seeing more and more across the globe, pretty much. It also has gotten to the industry, I guess, right?
It has, and going back to one of your earlier questions, when Four Seasons came to Bali, well, nobody knew who Four Seasons was, and also Conrad. So when we established Conrad, now today everybody knows who it is, but at the time nobody had any idea.
Wow.
And Conrad, when we first opened, was part of Hilton, but not part of Hilton. It was a separate company based in Brussels. So we were a small independent hotel group, and we were able to establish that brand as a recognized brand.
Did you ever imagine what would it be when you started, like Conrad or Four Seasons, bringing them here, what they have become today? So have you ever thought about what you did for the industry and, helping these big brands today to become what they are today? You're part of their history here.
Well, yeah, and I do think about it in the sense of the opportunities that we now have, because when I left Conrad, and, probably started a little bit late in life to decide to start my own company, and I'm still looking for that guy who said, start your own company, you'll play more golf. I can't find that guy,
Once you find it, let me know.
Yeah, exactly. But, the excitement of being able to create and establish new brands, because when I created my company, we had a specific goal, and that was not to have a brand. And our job is to create brands for other people. We're not a brand company, but what I mean is some owners, developers, they want a brand or want you to create a brand, or they've got a particular association with a name or property.
There you go.
So we're kind of, when we started, early days, white label. Now everyone has a white label, but that was our focus. And the other side of it was the foundation of our company is seek to understand rather than insist on being understood. So our role is to understand the vision and the passion for the people we're working with, and then to deliver it. Our job's not to tell people what they can and cannot do, but
it's to find a good balance and a way to actually deliver what they envision, right?
Yeah, and form long-term relationships, partnerships, and it's exciting the way things are moving and the people we're working with, so yeah, we've been through a few ups and downs. It's taken a little while, and then of course we had a couple of years off during COVID, but but it's come back with a vengeance. It's full speed now.
Could you mention that? Because actually one of my questions is, how do you think the COVID, the whole pandemic have affected or impacted the industry, and what you think it has helped or changed or shaped the new version of these hotel services? What role has it played in terms of what we see today?
Generally, I think it forced everybody to reevaluate some of their operating standards and costs and things like that. So I think we became all a lot more efficient. Here in Bali, it was devastating because 80% of tourism, or rather 80% of the economy and business is all around tourism, and there was nothing, for a long time. So it was tough.
Right.
But the resilience of the Indonesian and the Balinese people to bounce back, it's exciting. And I was chairman of the Hotel Association when we had second bomb, SARS, all sorts of disasters and things like that. And the opportunity to recover quickly was testament to the resilience of the community here.
There you
It was
go.
exciting.
All right, so Michael, we were talking about how the pandemic has affected the industry and what has evolved or changed in the industry after all these effects. What do you think was the biggest impact, and what can you see as the learnings out of this experience, so to speak?
Well, I think two things. As we said, I think everyone's become a lot more efficient. But as we came out of COVID, what was going to happen, how quick were we going to recover? Whew, my goodness me. It's like somebody full speed in the Ferrari, it's going that way. But along with that's come incredible innovation, where, so many new programs and systems, and really in the last, I know AI has been there for a while, but in the last 6 to 12 months, it's really shot off, and how it can be used effectively and things like that.
Can you see AI now becoming more involved in this industry as well? Like, do you think it's going to come play a role into it?
Although I would caution, only because I was talking to a number of my colleagues and they're using AI to reply to guests and do this, that, and the other. We have a strong service culture within our company. And it's a personal one-on-one, face-to-face type service.
Right.
So what we want to encourage in our particular area is to use all of these fantastic programs and tools to allow us to be more efficient, to give us more time with our guests one-on-one.
Perfect.
As opposed to somebody calling up and talking to a machine.
Right.
We don't want to go there. Now, that will work really well for certain programs, certain hotels and stuff, which is great because it makes it really efficient.
Yeah.
But happily, our focus as we've come out of COVID and we've bounced back quickly, which is really exciting, we've now got the luxury of picking and choosing a little bit of who we're working with and how we're developing, and we're going back to our roots, which is Four Seasons, Conrad, that's our culture.
There you go. So thinking about all of these innovations, new platforms, and the incredible amount of data and information we can capture today out of these platforms, how do you think we are using, or you guys are using that from an industry standpoint to actually accommodate the programs, the actual design on the rooms and everything? How do you think is impacting the business, all of this amount of information we can gather today?
I think the key with all the information that we have available to us is the ability to analyze it and take out of it the bits that are important, because otherwise you drown in it.
Yeah, exactly. You can get lost easily.
And I think it's critical that from the beginning you determine, okay, who we are, who our market is, where we're going with our, product, whatever that product might be, and what's the relevant information that helps us guide where to spend money in digital, where to spend money on innovation, where to spend money on training and developing team members, stuff like that. So, because it's a little bit information overload, and we have to be careful we don't drown it.
I love that you keep going back to your service culture as the main point of it. I feel like you have your guests in the center of this whole equation or ecosystem that you build from a service culture point of view. So I love that, because it's, I think, one of the key things that we as guests that visit any hotel, we value the most, the way we feel, the way you guys makes us feel as soon as we enter the room. So I think that's critical. So these new trends that we are all seeing in every industry pretty much, but talking about the hospitality world, sustainability, wellness, how do you think this is also touching on the industry? Do you see that is something that everyone is aware of? Are you building on top of these new trends?
Yes, and I think happily we've become actively involved in wellness and sustainability, which is, I have a young lady who works as part of our team, very bright young lady who has a passion for sustainability, ESG. So she finished her final exams in Europe and then came and joined our team recently. And we've given her, she's our point person for ESG. And we want somebody in our group who's always focused on it. Just going back to the service culture part, because I think it's important, because again, we have a philosophy with regard to that. Our guests, you get the pyramid, it's a little bit old hat, and the guest is at the top, and that's important. The reality is it's the team members that count. Kitchen doesn't work without the guy on the dishwashing machine. The rooms don't work without housekeeping. So we have a philosophy that the back of house has got to be as good as the front of house. You support and train your team, you give them the tools they need, and the rest is actually easy. Because they just naturally, you've got to choose the right people to start with.
Of course, yeah.
But when you recruit on attitude, they don't need experience. You can train somebody to wait in the restaurant, clean a room, and there's some great tools for that. But I know empowerment is an overused term, but when you empower people, and you choose the right people. I'll give you an example. So in the 9 years I was at Conrad, there's a culture generally in most businesses and hospitality because of manpower regulations, whatever they might be, and you've got to go through a process of, you did something wrong, so you get a warning and that. In 9 years, we never issued a warning.
Really?
We issued a lot of learnings. So we had a culture of, it's okay to make a mistake. Don't do it twice or three times, but it's okay to make a mistake.
As long as you learn from it. But
exactly.
It seems that you're taking the right approach in terms of educating your team.
Share those learnings, with the rest of the team. So, and what we found was that as it was okay to make a mistake and somebody didn't get clipped over the ear, that the confidence level grew and the ability then, the confidence to communicate with our guests, look after our guests, just grew. And then Michael could play more golf because the team were doing such a fantastic job.
The ultimate goal, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of sustainability, trying to dig deeper a little bit, do you believe that true sustainability in terms of project development as a whole is doable today? We heard, we all hear a lot of these green projects that ends up being greenwashing, so to speak. So do you think this true sustainable development concept can be a reality today?
I think the big companies are helping lead the way because of their sustainable policies. It doesn't address everything, but it's a great step in the right direction. More and more companies, I think, are focused on developing responsibly, making sure that when your garbage goes out, once it leaves your gate, your responsibility doesn't finish. It has to go all the way.
Right.
So you know where your garbage is going. And then also all of the products you use, the suppliers you use. So how far you take it, I think it's getting further and further because more and more people are being forced to focus on it. It's a little bit like basics. Hotels used to have a spa. Well, now you better have a lot more than a spa, right? And the same, hotels need to be green, but nowadays you've got to have a really solid, sustainable, or more than just sustainable, ESG program. You've got to be involved in the community. Your sustainability practices have got to be good because the guests are demanding it.
Which is
absolutely, which is great.
It's great, and it's a good, sustainable future we can envision together with development and the guests sort of demanding these new technologies to be implemented. Now, you barely touched on it just now, as we are used to here today wellness concept all over the place, especially when it comes to hotels. We are here in lovely Valley today, which is probably some of the world's most renowned places to perform treatment, retreat programs, detox programs, and a lot more information that we are just feels like we're just starting to learn. While most of the hospitality world, to my basic understanding, has traditionally been focusing more on the spa and maybe a yoga center, and that's sort of their wellness offer. Whereas today you can find a lot more information, treatments, and programs that are touching on this wellness system mentality and just future. So how do you see these wellness hotels coming along today?
And you've just said wellness hotels. So it's that particular sector is just growing.
Right.
So, we'll have 2, 3, 4, 5-star hotels, city hotels, resorts, but the wellness sector is just growing. Absolutely. And because, again, I think a hangover from COVID, people realized how important their health is. And when I say health, it's mind, body, soul, because especially my son, who was locked up for 2 years in Melbourne, I mean, certain places in the world, that stress level was incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people have come out of COVID going, wow, I need to look after myself, not just physically, but mentally, and where can I go? Now, we're a bit spoiled here in Bali because the culture is, there's a very strong spiritual base.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
And that allows us to take a regular treatment to another level. And I think, as we know, there's some incredible developments and innovations that we're seeing that can be incorporated into wellness. Not crossing the line to a medical, but, I think the demand is there from the guests who are looking for something. They don't want to go to the doctor and get a pill. They want to find another way.
They want to have this holistic approach and embrace this spiritual, energetic, new way of living.
And the need to get away and chill. If you're working in a big city environment or any environment that's stressful, just go and chill for a week, 2 weeks, whatever it might be, just to recharge. I think that market is just continuing to grow, and all over the world, everywhere.
Do you think this is affecting or impacting on the design of the new hotels, like a room or the building itself? You can see here in Bali, there's a lot more like villas type of construction, whether or as opposite to having vertical building constructions.
Well, I think again, it's the specialized, what's the word I'm looking for? The sector that we're talking about, the wellness sector, retreats, that market is growing. So happily for us, we're a bit more into boutique as opposed to larger hotels. And the larger hotels have a great place for conferences and people on holidays. But for that sector of the market who want more, there's more and more of these special places to go. We're a bit blessed in Bali because of the environment that we are located in for that type of wellness. But all over the world, I mean, Thailand and your home, Chile, all sorts of places. The US, special places where people can go and de-stress, detox, all that sort of thing. It's just growing. And there's a demand that the facilities that go with wellness have to be sustainable.
Yes, exactly.
So it's a good mix.
Yeah, we see that they are coming along together and people is demanding these new places, right?
Yeah, because see, you can't do, I believe you can't do great wellness without having a really strong community program and sustainability program.
It's like building solid foundations for it. So
Absolutely.
it makes total sense to me. Yeah. So Elementis as a concept, a brand, and a whole experience, if you will. What does it mean to you today? How did you get into this Elementis concept, and what got you in the first place? What captured your interest to become part of this team?
When I first met Anton and Andre, who founded Elementis, and I was introduced to their concept of building the wood and the glass, I thought, well, why on earth hasn't anybody built a villa like this before?
Yeah,
It's just
right.
fantastic. I mean, opening up to nature and all the rest. And that was before they told me all about the wonderful things that go with it, and Jacques and the special cooling technique and everything. So here we have a developer also, and what really impressed me and why I've been attracted to them, who are, with due respect to all my real estate friends, they're not real estate developers. They're passionate developers in sustainability and wellness. And it's really exciting that we've been part of this journey for a little while now, and to see it evolve and develop to the show villa and our first resort coming up. And we just talked about some key things that I feel are critical that the market today demand.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and that's wellness, innovation we talked about, nature, and community. And they just happen to be the four pillars of Elementis.
There you go. It makes total sense. Now,
Sure.
what do you think makes Elementis so unique from a hospitality or hotels point of view?
I became a bit of a brand person, having worked with large brands, but also an exercise we went through when Blackstone purchased Hilton as a group, and then they tried to figure out where Waldorf, Conrad, Hilton, Doubletree, and all of those brands fitted. And they did a great exercise, took about 18 months to determine what was the brand DNA for each of those brands, and then to describe it in a comprehensive document. And Elementis was much the same. One of the great things from early days was, well, who are we? And we had a few different names, right? So, but happily Elementis was the brand or the name selected, and then building that brand, all of the personality, the DNA, and the exercise that we've gone through with a lot of experts who have helped us build that brand. And we now have a brand book that describes our personality, DNA, what Elementis is all about. And that's going to allow us, as we go forward, to ensure that all of those special things that are going to make Elementis really unique and special will be maintained, and they're consistent. And the other thing about this particular brand is it's less about the Nike tick and less about the Hilton network or Marriott network. It starts with a build concept, all about sustainability, wellness because of the cooling technology, that you're living in this wonderful environment where the air is clean and fresh and healthy. Yeah. And then the wellness programs that we're developing at our wellness and healing center here in Ubud, that will translate to all the different properties that we're hopefully, happily going to develop. And right the way through to building a community. Mm-hmm. And the other key piece that always struck me about Anton and Andre, it was all about relationships and that connection, that personal connection. And as we've seen and we've gone along and formed partnerships and relationships, some have come and gone, but the ones that are here today are long-term relationships, and they take a long-term view. And that to me was really special.
Awesome. And I think one of the key questions for everyone involved today is, do you envision Elementis as a brand becoming a global brand with this global impact in the wellness and sustainable development?
No, absolutely. I think we have been very fortunate that in a very short time, particularly since the show villa was finished and we have something, what was it called the other day? Proof of concept.
Yeah.
So we've got something we can really show that works. And plus we're building a resort adjoining. So we can bring people here and they go, wow, this is real. This is special. And then we know we've got a number of developments confirmed. Our biggest challenge now is getting the map and figuring out where we want to be.
Where's the next one, right? There you go.
So it's really exciting. And I think now it's moved really quickly. And as we talked recently, need to take a breath, step back, not for long, but just step back a bit, do some forward planning as to where Elementis not so much can develop, because we could develop anywhere, but should develop. And in a responsible manner, following our brand, making sure that we stick with that brand, and wellness will always be part of it, but we need to pick locations and be responsible in our sustainable practices, building a community, so hopefully, because I'm a bit biased, when I see Australia and New Zealand, and I've spoken to some people down there and I show them what we've got, and I want one now. So it's that
true.
reaction. You're getting the same in Chile.
Absolutely, all the time.
So huge opportunities, but I think the importance for us is to plan where we're going and at what pace.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, I truly feel honored for this opportunity to have shared all of this information and a little bit of your knowledge and everything that is happening with Elementis. I'm a huge fan of your work. I truly feel admiration for everything you have achieved and everything you have built. And I'm so sure that everything you are doing today with Elementis will be a huge global success, and it will have global impact for all of us. So thank you very much for joining us today and sharing a little bit of your world and experience with us.
Thank you for having me. I mean, a great believer in the way you start is the way you continue, and Elementis is off to a great start.
There you go. Thanks a lot, mate.
All right, buddy.